Happy Wednesday, March 29th, 2023. Today's my sister's birthday, so happy birthday. All right, didn't make a video yesterday. A lot of things to talk about. I just didn't make a video. It didn't work out. Didn't have the right timing, this and that, so didn't make a video. But I'm making one today. A lot of things to talk about. I watched the financial news programs yesterday regarding the SVB bank, and there's a lot of speculation as far as what happened. Risk manager, there was no risk manager in place. You know, they got this money going here, invested in this stuff. Nobody's mitigating it. And then the other thing was, the one thing that kept coming up more and more, and I think this all fits into a narrative. Speaking of narratives, that's all we see are narratives anymore. But it all fits into a narrative of, in today's day and age, the banking system, you know, the money can flow out of accounts in real time because of digital age, you know, and digital technologies and apps. And that's what happened. You know, people can just get on their phone, they can transfer money out of their bank and into the next bank. And next thing you know, there's a virtual bank run. They're talking more and more about that. And they used an actual phrase. I'll have to look at my notes here. They used a phrase that said, what was it very quickly? I don't even know. There was something that they said, not sticky, that's it. The deposits aren't sticky, and they went into, you know, there used to be the saying that you'd get divorced before you lost or changed your bank account, or you'd have your bank account even after the divorce because the funds were sticky. You would stick to the bank, and it was just, you didn't want to mess with it. And you think about it, it's cumbersome. You go in there, you got to close the account. You know, I'll go through all the red tape, rigmarole, you know, to do all this stuff. And so people are like, I don't want to do it. It's like going to buy a car. It's like, how long am I going to be here? I just want to buy this freaking car. So now it's very easy. It's not sticky. It's liquid. It's fluid. It can just move right out. And so that's kind of, I'm seeing the building of a narrative to where they're going to say, well, you know, just transactions can happen in real time now, so we need to adjust accordingly. And we don't always know if there's going to be a risk manager at these local regional banks, you know, so that's a problem. And if we're going to be bailing these banks out using taxpayer money, the FDIC, then we got to make sure we've got better controls over this. And I see it all leading back to centralization. All leading back to, well, you know, why have 1,000 risk managers when we just have our Fed board of risk managers? We've got our people right here. We've already got it in place. And so if they centralize it all and bring it all under the same umbrella, then they can monitor it in real time. And it's not going to take from this bank to this bank. No, it's all at the same bank. So why would you have a bank run? It's all there and it's all safe. But if you put your money in these little banks, you know, it's the same kind of thing that happened. Now that I think about it, I mean, you used to have banks, they'd issue their own currency, might have been backed by gold or silver, but they'd issue a note. And, you know, when these banks failed, these notes went under. So, of course, that's a perfect reason to centralize it all and have a Federal Reserve to protect everybody. No longer will we have panics, and they used to call them panics. It does make sense now. So, yeah, that's what they're doing. They're absolutely, I'm just thinking that through in my head right now. I'm trying to formulate my hypothesis. But I think that's exactly what they're going to do. They're going to push that narrative of, see, you know, when you've got it in these smaller banks and you don't know who's running the show, it's hard to regulate them, you know, so decentralized from the Fed that we can't watch them all. We need to centralize everything. Hence, we have a new Fed Now CBDC coming in July. Download the app and enter total matrix slavery. So that's probably where it's going to go. That makes sense. And so watch the narrative, watch what they're saying. Everything happens for a reason. Absolutely everything happens for a reason. There are no coincidences. They've got too much money for there to be coincidences. Too much at stake in this existing system. In this vampire casino. Can't have those chips getting, not being usable, unless we say they're not usable. So speaking of coincidences, this is typical. This is what I see all the time. All right, so I ordered this part for a car. Ordered it February 28th. Said, I'll be there March 4th. All right, March 4th comes and goes. I watch the tracking, and it's like stuck somewhere outside of St. Louis and disappears off the tracking. Never an update. Finally, yesterday, I'm like, this is ridiculous. It's March 28th. This thing has not been delivered. You know, we're 24 days, 22 days. Okay, no, month since I ordered it. I said, okay, I'm gonna, you know, send my thing into eBay and say, hey, you know, I want a refund. You know, tell the seller, whatever, however you need to do, I want a refund. And it wasn't that much. It was like 16 bucks. So I put that through. Today, I get an email this morning, says, oh, your package has been delivered. And I'm like, so all of a sudden it just gets delivered? I mean, how does that magically happen? I haven't gone to the mailbox to look yet, so it might not be there. It might be just a scam and just saying that it's delivered because, you know, that's all digital until you take possession of it. It really doesn't exist, right? I say it does, but until I walk out there and grab it, I don't know. But let's say it is. It just kind of tells me how the universe works and how we work, and it folds into Cliff's. He had a good video with somebody the other day, Cliff High's predictive, how we all predict the future through our language and through things that we do that spill out of us and we don't even know it. We're just kind of tuned into it, and it just happened. I mean, just the other day, just this morning, something else. The same words, I had MSNBC on or CNBC. The same words, I knew the exact 2 words the lady was going to say before she said it. And then she said it. And I was kind of like dozing a little bit. So I was in that, like, maybe the theta waves were kicking in. But I said the exact words. It was like something confidence. And then she immediately, less than a second later, says it. So it's all, was I tuned in? Did I predict it based on, you know, what I hear from her in the past, you know, her language or what? Or just the phrases that go together? I don't know. But it happened. But anyway, the point is, I think we get to a point as human beings to where it's like, okay, enough is enough, and you start spilling, you know, just like this package. It's like enough time has gone by to where it's like, okay, it can't go any further. It has to change right now, and maybe I knew it was going to change, and I reacted, and it was happening all at once, and, you know, I was just tuned in, let's call it that. But for it to show up this day, and I never complained about it, gone 24 days, pretty interesting. But I gotta have proof of package here in a little bit, and I gotta walk out there. So today, the cigar I'm trying not to let go out is an Oliva Serie V, and it's the 4x60, 4 inches by 60 gauge, a little thick nub they call it. It's really good. I like the Serie Vs. So what I was looking at also, there's a couple of things that are happening. It goes right along with what I kind of felt coming on Monday when I made my video, and here it is. The United Arab Emirates, the UAE, their liquid natural gas, I think LNG, they're this huge deal they're making with China for this natural gas, and it is not going to be done in dollars. So here's another instance of where a big player with resources is going to sell those resources to China for something other than the dollar. What we heard recently too is Saudi Arabia, Aramco, big oil producer, that's kind of their company that, you know, pumps the oil out and sells it. They are building a, I don't know, something like $12 billion refinery in China, and not gonna be taking dollars for that oil. So they're gonna produce the oil, take it over there, and the Chinese are gonna refine it. So that's the one thing the Chinese need, the Asians kind of need there, China and Japan especially. So we'll see where they end up falling in this. They're still kind of in the US camp. But China needs resources. They need fuel, they need energy, they need that oil. And so they've just made a big deal with Saudi Arabia, who used to be the linchpin in this whole petrodollar scheme. It looks like it's falling apart. That's a huge deal. Again, if we're not taking, if there's no need for dollars to buy oil, the number one thing that makes the economy, the world economy run, the lifeblood, if we don't need dollars to buy that oil anymore, or people aren't forced to use dollars to buy that oil anymore, what do you need the dollar for? A lot of that power goes away like immediately. So it looks like it's happening. What's that make me want to do? It makes me want to go out and buy more Litecoin. I'm like, what cash do I have? I need to go buy more Litecoin. But rather than FOMO into it, the big thing is to realize you're going to have bills to pay. You might have taxes to pay. You might have certain payments to pay. You want to make sure that you get that stuff out of the way before you start dumping everything into a cryptocurrency or any kind of asset for that matter, whether it be gold, silver. I mean, you got to make sure that you've got your basics covered, you know, so that you can survive where you're at and get through, rather than having to sell the stuff and when they scam wick it down and dump it on you, because that's what they do. But I think we're at a point, I think we're at a good point where April, going to look good. There's a nice setup in crypto right now. I think that the first 3 months, you know, through March is going to end. April 1st starts the new quarter, the new month. I think it's going to be good running into the summer solstice at the end of June. I think we're gonna see some nice moves. Could be totally wrong, but when I look at Litecoin and I look at the halving and the pressure that that's going to put on it, and yeah, you have the CFTC come out and name Litecoin as a commodity. I mean, the thing is, I don't know that matters. It does for normies, maybe, you know, new people in, I should say, to the market, and like, oh, it looks okay, that's legit. That's a legit commodity. Well, we know it is. It's an asset. It's just that we don't need government sanctions. We don't need government approval for any of this stuff because it runs outside of government. But a lot of people are not in the space, into the crypto space, may look at that and say, well, that must be a good coin. You know, they named Bitcoin. They named, I think, a couple of stable coins too, BUSD and USDT. So, I mean, they're probably looking at everything as a commodity. Whereas the SEC, you know, the other arm of government, other tentacle, looks at everything as a security. So you see this infighting, you know, which is it a commodity, a security? And so you see the government trying to figure it out. And why can't they figure it out? Because it's really not in their purview. Because the blockchains like Bitcoin, Litecoin, DigiByte, these things, they run on their own independently. So, I mean, what do you do? How do you regulate something like that? How do you define something like that? It's really just words on paper that's run as code, and we just give it energy, and we can call it money if we want to, because there's only a limited supply. We can call it whatever we want, a transfer of a message, you know, words. Hard to say. And they're struggling with it. So I don't care. It just makes, everything that's happening makes me want to get more of these cryptocurrencies, especially DigiByte right now. Because if you look back at DigiByte, like the last every third April, every 3 years in April, DigiByte makes a big move. It's done that for the last two times, 2017, 2020, and here we are in 2023. And it kind of looks like it might be setting up to do it again. I mean, it makes a big move in April. So I'm just calling it out. I'm seeing it, you know, there's people out there doing charts, and I mean, if it makes a big move in April, holy cow. I mean, that'd be the third time. So, I mean, for under a penny, probably, I ain't afraid of getting stuck with DigiByte. Why would I be? I mean, it is sound money for the digital age. It's been running for over 9 years. It's got a limited supply. It's 21 billion, 1,000 to 1 to Litecoin, or I'm sorry, Litecoin, to Bitcoin. So it'd be like, what, 250 to 1 to Litecoin. But for under a penny, I mean, this is something that anybody can get into. Anybody can, you know, if they want to own crypto, it's affordable to do that. Not everybody can go out and buy, you know, one Litecoin and drop $100 bill. How many people can actually go buy one Bitcoin at $28,000? But you can buy some DigiByte for a penny a piece. So, I don't know, just something to look at. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out in April. If it happens, I'll just be like, wow. You know, these charts are just mirroring energies, you know, that happen, and cycles, and pretty amazing stuff when you kind of watch it and tune into it, and how it all plays out. But I mean, I'd be kicking myself if, you know, DigiByte's under a penny, then it runs up to 5 cents in 1 month. I mean, holy cow. But, you know, looking at the chart, that's the kind of thing that can happen. So, I don't know, pay attention to that. You know, trust your gut, trust your instincts on it. Everything that's happening right now just makes me want to get more crypto. Makes me want to just get it in my possession, you know. And I'm talking about the real cryptos. I'm talking about not necessarily Bitcoin, because it is so expensive, and I think it's overvalued compared to the other ones. Not that Bitcoin's overvalued, it's really undervalued compared to the dollar. I just think that Litecoin, DigiByte are way undervalued compared to the dollar, and way undervalued compared to Bitcoin. So, you know, if I'm going to take Fed notes, vampire casino chips, and transfer them into some form of sound money for the digital age, I want the ones that are the best deal, that actually do things that I want them to do, that are fast, they're inexpensive to use, you can transfer them, and it's not, you know, waiting all day for it and struggling. And Bitcoin to me is that struggle. But if you're holding it for, you know, ever, I mean, that's Bitcoin, just lock it up and forget about it. But if you want to use it, I mean, to me, it's Litecoin, DigiByte. If I want to transfer value from peer-to-peer, one person to the other, those are the two I want to use. And as Litecoin gets more activity and becomes Bitcoin version 2.0, DigiByte's going to be the one that's working better and faster. So you'll see the same kind of relationship, DigiByte to Litecoin as Litecoin to Bitcoin as far as speed and transaction fees. Anyway, anything else on a Wednesday? I don't know. I did make a few notes. I should take a look and just see if it's anything that, oh yeah. All right, I'm gonna get into this real quick. I don't make notes, I'll forget and I'll just ramble on, but I do have a message. I just do want to try and put some information out there instead of just rambling all day. Lululemon. And you hear a Lululemon, L-U-L-U on the stock market. It is a high-end clothing maker. That's like, I don't know, they're known for yoga shorts, you know. I don't know nothing about it. I don't go to the Lululemon store. I don't go to the website. So this morning, you know, before I came out here, I looked at the website because I realized they're up like 20% since yesterday. And oh, the guidance is great. Oh, they're selling all this stuff and the consumer's buying and everything's fine. So I want to look at Lululemon a little bit. So I went to their website to shop. I mean, for a guy's pair of shorts, I mean, flimsy little, they look terrible, I think. 78 bucks, 88 bucks. A pullover, just a pullover sweatshirt with nothing on it, 128 bucks. I mean, I start looking at these prices and I'm thinking, what the frick? And then, you know, I talked to my wife about it. She says, oh yeah, so-and-so, his daughters, you know, they wanted Lululemons for Christmas. And he said, I can only afford one pair of yoga pants, you know, for the two daughters each, you know, one pair each. And they wanted like 5, 6, 7. He's like, I can spend over $100 for a pair of one pair of yoga pants times 7. I'm thinking, well, who would? I mean, are they that good? I mean, I'm talking, I don't pay, I mean, if I pay 10 bucks for a t-shirt, I'm kind of struggling to do that. So I don't know. I'll wear things till they wear out. I don't care if they're ripped up, they got holes in it. I'm surprised the shirt I have on right now doesn't have a hole in it. I can't see it. I don't see the value there for me. And, you know, some people have looked at it and they said, oh, Lululemon stock. Oh, this is a great thing to get into. And I think, but what are you actually holding? What are you holding? You're holding an idea that more people are going to continue to buy this product, this high-end product. Well, I don't necessarily think that we're in a situation economically where that stuff's going to hold any kind of value. And in fact, I'll prove to you that it doesn't. Can't keep it lit. Crazy. So my daughter, you know, I had this discussion like, okay, so what's the deal with Lululemon? She doesn't own any of it. Well, she hasn't bought any at retail. Let's just say that. She does have I think a pair of shorts that she bought for 12 bucks and she bought them at what's a place called Plato's Closet. It's kind of a high-end, not a thrift store, but it's like where you go to like trade in your high-end stuff. It's like, hey, I got this nice stuff, and they go through it and they're like, okay, I'll give you this much for it, this much for it, this much. And so they'll have name brand stuff on the rack and you can go in there and it's good quality. Sometimes they'll have the tags on it. But I think she bought a pair of shorts there, she said, for 12 bucks, Lululemon shorts. And it's just, I can't see it. You know, one man's trash is another man's treasure. That's kind of how I look at it. I like things that are undervalued. I don't want to pay full price. I don't want to go buy one Bitcoin. I want to go buy, what, 300 Litecoin for the same price. Oh, I'm not going to do that. But, I mean, I want to be able to buy one Litecoin for under 100 bucks. And I understand what's going to happen with that. And when people understand the real value, when all this illusion is cleared away and, you know, you could actually see again, the veil's lifted, and you're like, holy cow, all this stuff that I bought in the closet is junk. It really has no value. Because I'm just worried about keeping warm now. Is this stuff going to keep me warm? I need some blankets because I can't afford heat. You know, the power grid's down. You know, I need things of value. And I can't. And yeah, if the power grid's down, your Litecoin doesn't work, right? Well, it's still there. You just got to go find power. But you got bigger issues at that point. You're not worried about your Litecoin working. You're not worried about your dollars working. You're just worried about staying warm and eating. Let's not get to that point, hopefully. Made a video about that last Friday. Go watch that if you want to. The gold, silver, Litecoin, Bitcoin debate thing, I think I called it. And what happens when everything falls apart. let's just hope that it doesn't get that far, and that because we've got to have a technical world, we've got to have technology, we've got to have the electricity grid running, we've got to have these things operational. Other countries understand that. They're not going all green. They're not looking at solar and wind and all the input costs to do that stuff. No, they're building refineries because they know that's the most efficient resource out there. That, you know, when you get a barrel of oil, that right there has the most energy built up into it. You know, natural gas and diesel, all these things are proven until we find, you know, the free Tesla energy and harness that, you know, right out of the atmosphere. But for right now, those are the things that store up in the most condensed way energy, and they're most usable. So this, and reliable. The wind's not blowing, the sun's not out. You still use the gasoline, still use the diesel. It's just common sense. We got to navigate through that. Yeah, I want everything to be completely clean and it doesn't hurt the environment. But there are ways to do that with the existing fuels until we basically release the free technologies that's been hidden forever. I mean, see, it just comes down to, there's just too many vested interests. It comes down to the money. All the problems stem from the money, the ability to create money out of nothing. And they're going to continue to do that, bail out banks and, you know, force you down a path you really don't want to go, but they're going to do that because they've got all the money. And that doesn't change until we start saying, we're not going to use that money anymore. We're going to exit that vampire casino. And what is China doing? What is Russia doing? Exiting the vampire casino, exiting that Fed system, exiting. They're making deals with other people that have resources, and it's the same thing we're going to be forced to do. If the dollar collapses, we got to find other things to trade with. And that's what they're doing. They're doing it before the dollar collapses. So get things in your possession. You know, that's why I look at cryptocurrency. Something outside of their control, runs on its own network. Litecoin's been running for over 11 years nonstop. DigiByte over 9 years nonstop. Bitcoin's been running since, you know, 14 years, but it did have some interruptions. Find things of value. Not your Lululemons. Maybe find some lemons because they serve more purpose. Stop scurvy. Get it in your own possession. Take control of your wealth. Don't play in the vampire casino. Other people are already headed to the exits and they've left. They know what's going on. They see trouble and they're getting out of the way. You should think about doing the same thing. All right. Love y'all. Have a happy Wednesday. And it's 2 days till Friday happy hour. We're gonna have some severe weather around here, so it might make for an interesting live happy hour on Friday. All right, love you all. Trust yourself in these turbulent times. Find that calm, find that peace, realize what's necessary and what is not necessary. Keep those things that are not necessary out of your life. And then when you exit that system and you control the things, your money, your assets, when you have them in your own possession, it will put you in a different place. All right, trust yourselves and have a wonderful day. Thanks for watching. Love y'all.